Okay, so when you're finding the sum of these expressions here, these are geometric expressions, and so we're going to use the formula for the geometric series here. So in order to find the sum, we need to know what the first term is, and what the common ratio is, and what how many terms you're adding together. Okay, so if we go up to our first example here, we can see that a sub 1 is a negative 3. Okay, and we can see, what are we multiplying a sub 1 by? We're multiplying it by another negative 3. So r is a negative 3. So we're multiplying each value by another negative 3. That tells us that that's r. And then we can see, here's my first term, my second term, my third term, and so this is my 7th term. So n will be 7 in this case. It's a little bit different than the ones I did in the first video. Okay, so now we're going to plug this into the formula. We're going to find the sum of the first 7 things in that sequence for part A, and we're going to multiply that a sub 1, which is a negative 3. Kind of move this off to the side. We're going to times that by 1 minus r, which is another negative 3, to the 7th power. Divide that by 1 minus a negative 3. Okay, so let's simplify this. So it gives you a negative 3 times, and then, let's see, a negative 3 to the 7th. It's going to end up giving you 1 minus, let's see, a negative 3 to the 7th power. Calculate that. And it's going to give me a negative back. Negative 2,187. All divided by, and here we can see, right, when you have minus a negative, you're going to end up making that plus a positive, and so 1 plus 3 is 4. We can do the same thing here with a minus a negative, and so you're going to end up with a negative 3 times 2,188 over 4. So go ahead and calculate that. So negative 3 times 2,188 divided by 4. Get negative 1,641. And that's the sum of the first 7 things for part A. Okay. Now we come over here. Remember that this means, the sigma notation means to find the sum of the, using this pattern, of the first 8 things. So starting with 1 and going to 8. So if I was to kind of just replace I here with, start with 1, that gives me my first value. So 3 times 1/2 to the first. That's my a sub 1 value. And then the next term in the sequence would be, I would replace the I with 2. So 3 times 1/2 to the second. And this would continue. 3 times 1/2. So I replaced the j, or the I here, sorry, with a 3, and I would keep going until I got to 8. So 3 times 1/2 to the 8th. So we can see here that a sub 1 is going to be 3 times 1/2, which is 3/2. Okay, and the r value, what are we multiplying each of these by? We're increasing it by another 1/2, so r is 1/2. And how many terms are we going to have? We're going to have 8 terms. So in this case, n is 8. So let's go ahead and plug that into the equation. So the sum of the first 8 terms is going to be equal to A, which is 3/2, times 1 minus R. R is 1/2. I'll put that in parentheses if you want. To the 8th power over 1 minus 1/2. Okay, so now if you have a calculator, you can use that to help you. And just check and make sure you're putting it in right. You might want to put parentheses around here and around here if you're plugging it into your calculator, so you want it to come out right. Okay, if you don't have a fraction button on your calculator, or you have to do this by hand, remember you can use the the scientific calculator that I have under Help with the Math on the website. Okay, so here remember this is just the same thing as 1 to the 8th, which is easy, that's 1, and then 2 to the 8th. Okay, so 2 to the 8th power is 256. So what you have here is 3/2 times 1 minus 1 over 256, all over, I'm going to write this 1 as 2 over 2 minus 1/2. So I'm just getting the common denominator so that I can subtract those. Okay, so that's going to equal 3/2, and so we need to get the common denominator up here as well, so we would want to rewrite this as 256 over 256. So now we can subtract these because they have the same denominator. Okay, so this is going to be 255 over 256, all divided by, so 2 over 2 minus 1/2 is 1/2. Okay. Now remember, if I have something like this, I'm dividing this whole thing by 1/2. Okay. That is the same, dividing this all by 1/2 is the same as multiplying it by its reciprocal, 2 over 1. And so I have 3/2 times 255 over 256 times 2 over 1. So you can just start simplifying if you'd like. This 2 and this 2 can simplify to 1s. Both become 1s basically. And then, let's see, basically have 3 times 255, which gives you 765 over 256. Okay. And that's the sum of the first 8 things. This is the answer for part B.